Welcome back to Police Journal. Judge Chmura, maybe we could talk about a program that I think we implemented together, police and court, about a year ago, the Civil Infraction Conference, which I understand is working out very well.
Right.
I recall that we started this when I was the police chief in Farmington Hills,
right.
and met with you and the other judges, and we talked about how we could kind of streamline and maybe save funds as far as overtime that was being, taken as far as the need for it to go to court. So maybe you could kind of just share with our viewing audience what the Civil Infraction Conference is and what it's doing for the court.
Sure. They're called KIC conferences,
Yes.
as you know, for short. And we did implement this when you first came on. This was a great idea you had, actually.
Thank you.
And you brought it to our attention. And the basic idea is to change how civil infractions are heard. Now, a civil infraction is a traffic ticket. If you get stopped by a police officer for speeding, let's say, and he writes you a ticket, you now have a civil infraction. And the way it used to be is that if you wanted to contest that ticket, you would go to court, set up a court date, and the officer who wrote the ticket would be there, and he would offer some testimony. You would offer your side in front of the judge, and the judge would decide the case either for you or against you. And that's how it was handled. Right. And of course, this was expensive because the police officer would have to be paid overtime to come to court and testify, even if he was only there for 5 minutes. Well, what we've done through the cooperation of your department is set up a special conference where if you get a ticket, you come to court to contest it, but you don't go before the judge. You go before a representative of the police department, who is another police officer, and he will attempt to resolve the case informally, depending upon your traffic record and depending upon what the person wants to do. And most of the time, those cases do get resolved in that way, but this is a lot faster because you're not going before the judge to have the case heard, and the officer who wrote the ticket doesn't have to come and get all the overtime for all that.
Right. And it's a pretty fair system for the person that received the the violation, because you work something out if they got a good driving record where you're not going to get those points on your record, which means if you get the points on your record, your insurance is going to increase.
No, big time, especially if you're a young driver. So it's just a great way to resolve tickets and save everybody money, and people like it, and we're going to continue to use that.
Right. But keeping in mind, of course, that the violator, when they negotiate, they still pay that fine, correct?
They still pay the fine, absolutely. And the violator always has the right to not participate. And every once in a while we'll get someone who has a ticket and says, I want to have my day in court. And they're entitled to have that day in court. We don't discourage that in any way. We just make the other option available to them if they want it. And they usually will take it.
Very good. Judge, you started a new program. We were having a lot of problems with juvenile tickets, juveniles that were receiving tickets, and they weren't. They were just kind of like throwing them away. They were not taking care of it, not showing up in court. And so you implemented a new program in the 37th District Court, and I think it's really got the attention of these juveniles that they have to be responsible people and show up in court when they have to or should.
Right. We started that at the end of the school year last year, and we'll be starting again real soon because school is just about here with the new year. And you're right. The problem was that the officers assigned to a school who wrote tickets to the students had some problems because the students would just throw the tickets away, and there was no real good way to enforce that. And when I say tickets, we're talking about fighting on school property violations, possession of tobacco products while being underage 18, things like that. And what we've done now is issued out a notice to these students who don't come to court after they get a ticket called a show cause order, which means they have to come to court and show cause why they shouldn't be held in contempt for failing to take care of the ticket. So they're essentially given another opportunity to take care of it. If they still ignore that ticket after they've been given that second opportunity, we actually will issue a warrant for the student's arrest. And the officer will go to where that student is in school, and of course he'll know exactly where the student is because he's assigned to that school, and go into, let's say math class, and say, Joe Smith, or whatever the name is, I've got a warrant for your arrest for not taking care of the violation that I issued you, a month ago or whatever it is, and he will handcuff the person, arrest the person, put him in his squad car and have that person taken directly to the courtroom where the judge will be waiting to have that ticket heard. And I think it's a great way to get students' attention.
Have you seen paying more attention now since you implemented the program?
The officers tell me the students are aware of it. We're really going to see how well it works when the school year starts,
right.
when we really get going with this thing. But the initial conversations or the initial talk that I've heard from the officers is that it's working and students are aware of it, shall we say.
How do we deal with the parental responsibility? I mean, you know, some of these parents are very lacking. Not all, but some.
Some, right. That's a good point. And part of this program is the court issuing violations to the parents. And it's a parental responsibility violation. In other words, they're being charged with violating the parental responsibilities for not making sure that their son or daughter comes to court, because that's their job as a parent. So at the same time that these students are brought before the court, their parents will be given a notice to appear at that time as well and explain to the judge why they didn't make sure that their son or daughter came to court for the ticket that they got.
Very good. Judge, we kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about the new law, this medical marijuana. You know, just recently, the Oakland County Sheriff's Department raided 2 clinics. One was in Ferndale and one was in Waterford, and they seized, you know, hundreds of pounds of marijuana. You know, the way it works, you can only grow so many plants for so many users and that, as far as caregivers and that.
Right.
But what's your take on this law?
I think it's a bad law, Commissioner. I really do. You know, the whole point of the law was to allow people who, for whatever reason, needed marijuana for some unique medical condition to smoke it under limited circumstances because supposedly nothing else worked. That's not the way the law is working now. It's not even close. Right now, anybody can go to a certain type of doctor and get one of these medical marijuana cards that allows them to smoke marijuana. You could get it. I could get it. And all you basically have to do is tell the doctor you've got some sort of pain or some sort of condition that you think would be helped by smoking marijuana. And the doctor, if you go to the right doctor, will sign the form that allows you to do it. So in effect, anybody can smoke marijuana legally now. All you got to do is pay the money to the doctor to do this. And it's big business for these doctors. They're making $500, $1,000 per case so that they can sign these forms allowing you to get a medical marijuana card. And that's not what the legislature, I don't think, ever intended.
Yeah, and it's, quite frankly, as I said, it's creating a black market. I mean, you know, these people that are, these caregivers that can grow only 12 plants and have 5 patients, are abusing and taking advantage, and they're creating a black market because as they did in Waterford and Ferndale, you see the massive amount of black market business there is there.
That's right.
Or was.
That's exactly what's happening. And they can even grow more than the 12 plants because you can grow the 12 plants for yourself. And then if you're a caregiver for another person, and I'm not sure, but I think it's up to 5 people you can be a caregiver for. So how many plants are these people going to be growing? They're, you know, they're dealers. They're almost like drug dealers, and it's legal. It's legal. So I hope the legislature fixes it.
I hope so. Now there's talk about in the city of Detroit just legalizing marijuana, period, and that's a bad move. I mean, I've been in law enforcement for over 40 years, and I was in charge of the narcotic division in Detroit for 8 years. And you know, you raid, arrest, seize, and convict, but you still, you know, it's just a gateway drug in many cases. Marijuana to cocaine and heroin. To all kinds of things, and it's a serious problem. And you know, legalizing drugs is not the answer. It sounds good. It maybe seems like it's the easy way out, but it really doesn't solve anything. It doesn't. The biggest problem, actually, that we're starting to see now in drugs, in terms of usage, are the prescription drugs for pain. Vicodin, Oxycontin, Xanax, drugs like those, and because they're so accessible to people. They're in the medicine cabinet, and there's a perception out there that if the drug is prescribed by a doctor and it's in the medicine cabinet, it's okay. It's not a real drug, you know, unlike or like cocaine or heroin or something like that.
and it's a big problem that we have to address.
Very good. Let's talk about these TV shows like Judge Judy. I mean, you got these shows all over. Which I know you've got your show, which is very good. Case Closed.
Case Closed is my show, right?
And I've seen that, and you do an excellent job.
Thank
But this, Judge Judy and all these others. What's your take?
I don't watch a whole lot of them, quite honestly. When I come home after working, that's the last thing I want to do is hear more cases. That's kind of my downtime. But every once in a while, I guess I take a peek, and it's theatrics, Commissioner. That's what it is. It's. I guess it's fun to watch. It's entertaining. If you like to watch people get angry at each other and watch the judge interact in a certain way, it can be kind of fun. But it's not the way it really is.
It's not the way the court operates.
No, it's not even close. You can't say all those sorts of things, and it's not. And the cases aren't nearly as outrageous as they are in those shows. Most of the cases are just mundane and quite honestly boring. Those shows pick good cases, juicy cases that make for good TV. So it doesn't reflect reality, and you really don't learn any law when you watch those shows, because everybody's yelling at each other and trying to act and do those sorts of things.
But how about Case Closed? I mean, what are you trying to get across on your show? Because I think it's excellent, but for our viewing audience that maybe haven't viewed Case Closed.
Well, we try to have fun, first of all, on Case Closed. I mean, I do want people to some extent be entertained, and
but they're real cases.
But they're real cases, and there's nothing staged, there's nothing rehearsed. When you see the cases, it's as they're heard. But at the end of the case, what I try to do, after we maybe have a little bit of fun, is to educate the viewer about why the case is being decided the way it is. And I'll take some time to explain why one person lost or why the other person won, so that when you walk away from it, you learn a little bit. We don't make it like law school or anything like that, but it's supposed to be a little bit educational and fun.
Very good. Well, Judge, we're running out of time here, but I want to ask you, when I became police commissioner here in Warren, myself and the Deputy Commissioner Green, set up these meetings with the court, and I thought they were real beneficial, and I think that, you can, as far as the police department personnel, you can tell how we're doing, and if we have any concerns to the court, we can tell you our concerns. And
we've met a number of times, and we continue to do that, which is a great idea. And I'll say one of the things that I really take pride in as being chief judge is the good relationship that the court has with the department and with the individual officers. I have nothing but respect for what you do and the officers out on patrol. They have an unbelievably difficult job. I've ridden along with them.
Yes, you have.
I know what they do, and I have just great respect for it, and I really would like to continue to foster that close relationship that we have. And we've been able to do that.
We're going to continue.
And we want to continue to do that. And I think you're doing just a fantastic job there, Commissioner. And,
well, so is the court, and yourself as the chief judge. Judge, we're just about out of time, so any closing comments?
No closing comments. Watch Case Closed. How about that for a closing comment? So maybe we can leave it at that.
Very good, very good. But remember now, view Case Closed, and thank you for viewing Police Journal. And until next time, thank you.